Our today's story is about a scientist that was an important figure in the first industrial revolution. His three principles of motion were the core of classic physics. Also, he provided a groundwork for optics and color theories. This scientist is most famous by the falling apple story and gravity, Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was born on December 25, 1642, Wilsthorpe, Lincolnshire, England, the same year that Galileo died in. His father died 3 months before his birth, while his mother remarried, leaving him with his grandmother for 9 years. Later, Newton attended Grantham Grammar School, but he was removed from the school to be sent to watch the cattle as his mother wished. Newton couldn't bring himself to concentrate on agricultural concerns, preferring snuggling up under a tree with a book instead. Fortunately, Newton was returned to his aforementioned school, proceeding later to Trinity College, Cambridge in June 1661. During the university time, Newton began studying Aristotle's books. Also, he went through the works of Descartes, Copernicus, Kepler, and Galileo. This study had enabled him to develop the foundation of classical mechanics. However, the 1665 plague had hit Europe, and due to that, he was obligated to stay home for the next 2 years. This allowed him to focus on his new discoveries and theories. In 1665, and by depending on Descartes' La Géométrie and previous mathematical works, Newton proved the binomial theorem. By 1669, he was ready to publish Methods of Fluxions, a work that made his name recognized. The word fluxions denote the birth of the calculus. In 1668, Newton invented the reflecting telescope. In 1670s, he discovered the white light's composition, leading him to propose a new theory called of colors, which incorporates the majority of the ideas developed about optics into his book, Optics, published in 1704. Newton's greatest accomplishment was his work in celestial mechanics, especially the circular motion of moon and planets, which culminated in discovering the inverse square relation and the development of the universal gravitational theory. Newton produced early drafts of his 3 laws of motion by 1666, and later, in 1687, published his book, Principia, discussing the law of inertia, law of force, action-reaction law, the universal gravitational law. During his last years, Newton published new editions of his most important writings. The major text was barely modified, although he did develop the queries at the end into the final presentation of his cosmological hypotheses. Catherine Barton Conduit, his niece, and her husband resided with him in Cranberry Park in his final years. Newton never got married and died on March 31, 1727, while he was sleeping. Newton's contributions to mathematics, optics, and gravity were so influential that modern science relied upon for centuries. That was a brief biography of the great physicist Sir Isaac Newton. We hope that you enjoyed it. More stories will be covered, so ensure that you're subscribed and click the bell icon. Please help us by liking, commenting, and sharing. This encourages us to deliver more. Wait for the next video on the Electricity and Magnetism channel, and we'll see you in the next one.